in the heart of the American South, where towering glass skyscrapers pierce the Georgia sky and Fortune 500 giants write the rules of modern commerce, there exists a story that has remained hidden in plain sight. Atlanta, home to Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, and the roar of 70,000 fans at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, is also to a Filipino legacy worth tens of millions of dollars. But this isn't the story of a single dynasty hoarding wealth behind mansion walls. This is something far more remarkable. Picture this: a young man from Fontana, California, raised by his Filipino grandmother when times got rough, once collected shopping carts at Walmart just to help pay for college. Today, that same young man wears the Philippine sun and stars permanently inked on his arm as he breaks through defensive lines for the Atlanta Falcons, setting franchise records that hadn't been touched in over 4 decades. His name is Tyler Allgeier, and his story is just the beginning. Or consider the catcher who crouched behind home plate when the Atlanta Braves clinched the 2021 World Series. Travis d'Arnaud, whose Filipino-American mother ran an after-school performing arts center in Long Beach. His contracts with Atlanta alone total nearly $50 million. And his brother? He played for the Braves too. But the connections run even deeper. Did you know that the first player of Filipino descent to ever skate in the NHL played for an Atlanta team? That he scored the final goal in that franchise's history before they relocated? Or that Atlanta-headquartered Coca-Cola has poured over $3 billion into Philippine operations, creating a business bridge that spans the Pacific Ocean? From World Series rings to NFL rushing records, from pioneering sports firsts to billion-dollar corporate partnerships, the Filipino footprint in Atlanta is larger, wealthier, and more influential than anyone has ever documented until now. In this deep dive, we're counting down the 10 richest Filipino connections to Atlanta, Georgia. We'll explore the athletes who've earned fortunes wearing Atlanta's colors, the historic firsts that changed professional sports, the community leaders who've built organizations spanning half a century, and the corporate relationships that move billions between Atlanta and Manila. Some of these stories will inspire you, others will shock you, and by the time we reach our number 1 spot, you'll understand why the question, "Who is the richest Filipino in Atlanta?" has an answer far more complex and compelling than a single name. Stick around, because what you're about to discover will change how you see both Atlanta and the Filipino-American dream forever. In 1987, 3 Filipino women gathered in Metro Atlanta with a simple but powerful vision: to unite the growing community of Filipino nurses who had traveled thousands of miles from their homeland to serve in American hospitals. Frances Messina Abello, Prissy Malari, and Cora Tan had no idea that their modest gathering would spark a movement that would reshape healthcare across the state of Georgia. For 3 years, the organization they founded remained small, almost invisible, its members busy raising families while working demanding nursing shifts. Then, in 1990, Dr. Cass Garcia, president of the Philippine Medical Association of Georgia, invited every Filipino nurse in Metro Atlanta to his home for a meeting that would change everything. His encouragement breathed new life into the struggling association, and Beth Villanueva was elected its first president, a role in which she continues to be a driving force to this day. The Philippine Nurses Association of Georgia represents something far greater than a professional organization. It represents the collective economic power of thousands of Filipino healthcare workers whose annual earnings reach into the tens of millions of dollars. Consider the numbers. Filipino nurses make up 4% of the entire American nursing workforce, despite Filipinos representing only 1% of the United States population. 1 in every 20 registered nurses practicing in America today was trained in the Philippines. These are not just statistics. These are lives saved, families comforted, and communities healed by Filipino hands. The association found its moment of transformation during the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta. The enthusiasm surrounding the Games ignited something within the remaining members of what had been a struggling organization. Venus Soriano was elected president, and under her leadership, the embers finally became a bonfire. Annual scientific meetings became major successes. Volunteer forces organized with newfound purpose. The organization joined the Philippine Nurses Association of America in 1999, connecting Georgia's Filipino nurses to a nationwide network of their peers. Frances Messina Abello, one of those three founding women, would go on to be named among Georgia Asian Times' 25 most influential Asian Americans in Georgia. She received the prestigious Florence Nightingale Award in 2012 and the Cobb National Senior Citizen Award in 2021. Her legacy lives on, not just in the organization she helped create, but in every Filipino nurse who walks the halls of Georgia's hospitals today, carrying forward a tradition of excellence and compassion that spans generations. But the Philippine Nurses Association did not emerge from a vacuum. It grew from roots planted more than a decade earlier, when a small group of Filipino Americans decided that their community needed a home. In the latter part of 1973, a handful of Filipino Americans in Atlanta gathered with an audacious dream to create an organization that would preserve their culture while helping their community thrive in the American South. By February 1974, with Eli Abalera serving as its first president, the Filipino American Association of Greater Atlanta held its inaugural installation of officers at the old Squire Inn, a building that has long since been torn down. The association faced its first major challenge almost immediately. Filipino nurses were arriving in Georgia in significant numbers, and many encountered serious problems with their employment and placement. The young organization stepped up, coordinating with the Philippine Embassy, which sent labor attaché Blas Opal to extend assistance on their behalf. The following year, in 1975, the association made its public debut in the most American way possible, participating in the WSB Salute to America, July 4th parade with its own float, showcasing the first Miss Philam, Ningning Encisa. It was a declaration that Filipino Americans were not just visitors to Georgia. They were part of its fabric. Today, the Filipino American Association of Greater Atlanta stands as the longest surviving Filipino organization in the state, representing more than 40,000 Filipino Americans across Georgia. Its current president, Juneli Zabala, is a plastics and aesthetics nurse at JC Plastic Surgery of Atlanta and a proud graduate of Clayton State University. The connections run deep within this community. Board member Erica Abello is the daughter of Frances Messina, one of the founders of the Philippine Nurses Association, and the niece of Eudora Abalera, a founder of the Filipino American Association itself. 3 generations of Filipino American leadership, woven together like threads in a tapestry that grows richer with each passing year. From the Miss Philam pageant to the Munting Tinig Children's Program, from spring picnics to cultural productions called Sayo Himig, the association has created a home for Filipino Americans in Atlanta for more than 50 years. But community and culture, as vital as they are, represent only part of the Filipino Atlanta story. The largest connection between this city and the Philippine Islands isn't measured in cultural events or nursing shifts. It's measured in billions of dollars. In 1927, San Miguel Corporation became the first company to bottle Coca-Cola anywhere in Asia, forging a partnership between the Philippines and Atlanta that would span nearly a century. By 1981, the relationship had grown so significant that San Miguel spun off its soft drink operations into a new company, Coca-Cola Bottlers Philippines, established as a joint venture with Atlanta's Coca-Cola Company. The numbers tell the story of what followed. In 2007, Coca-Cola's Atlanta headquarters purchased San Miguel's 65% stake for $590 million, taking full ownership. In 2010, the company announced a $1 billion investment in Philippine operations. In 2013, a transaction valued the Philippine bottling business at $1.35 billion. And in February 2024, when Abitiz Equity Ventures and Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners jointly acquired Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines, the price tag reached $1.8 billion, with an additional $1 billion investment commitment over the following 5 years. The total value of transactions connecting Atlanta's most famous company to the Philippine Islands now exceeds $3 billion. 9,000 Filipinos work directly for the operation. More than 100,000 jobs throughout the distribution network depend on it. The Philippines represents the second largest soft drink market in Southeast Asia, with 115 million consumers and a rapidly growing middle class. From nurses healing the sick, to community organizations preserving culture, to corporate partnerships moving billions across the Pacific, the foundation of Filipino wealth in Atlanta runs deeper than most could ever imagine. But we are only beginning our countdown. The fortunes we are about to explore exist not in boardrooms or hospital corridors, but on the ice, the diamond, and the gridiron, where Filipino-American athletes have made history wearing Atlanta's colors. On February 26, 2009, a 26-year-old center from the Chicago suburbs stepped onto the ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs and made history without even knowing it. Tim Stapleton, born to a Filipino mother and an Irish father in LaGrange, Illinois, became the first player of Filipino descent to ever play a game in the National Hockey League. He did not simply participate in that debut. He won it, scoring the shootout winner in his very first NHL game. 2 days later, he scored his first official NHL goal against the Ottawa Senators. A star was born, though his most significant moment in Atlanta was still 2 years away. On July 1st, 2009, Stapleton was traded to the Atlanta Thrashers, along with defenseman Pavel Kubina, in exchange for Garnet Exelby and Colin Stewart. It was a routine transaction in the hockey world, the kind of move that fills the back pages of sports sections and is forgotten within weeks. But for Stapleton, it was the beginning of a chapter that would cement his name in Atlanta sports history forever. After spending time with the Chicago Wolves, the Thrashers' American Hockey League affiliate, Stapleton signed a 2-year contract worth just over $1 million with Atlanta on November 30th, 2010. He was ready to prove himself at the highest level. The 2010 to 2011 season would be the Atlanta Thrashers' last. The franchise, plagued by attendance problems and ownership issues, was destined to relocate to Winnipeg and become the Jets. But before that move could happen, there was one final game to play. On April 10, 2011, the Thrashers faced the Pittsburgh Penguins in what would be the franchise's final contest. At 13 minutes and 15 seconds of the third period, Tim Stapleton fired a shot past goaltender Brent Johnson. It was a goal like any other, except it was not like any other at all. That goal would be the last in Atlanta Thrashers history. The first Filipino to play in the NHL had scored the final goal for a franchise that would never play another game. Stapleton's mother grew up in the Philippines before emigrating to the United States in the 1980s, where she met his Irish-American father. Both worked as California state employees. The heritage that Stapleton carries is one he learned about relatively recently in his career. Half Filipino and half Irish, he represents a breakthrough for a community that has virtually no representation in professional hockey. His career spanned 118 NHL games, during which he recorded 19 goals and 18 assists for 37 points. He represented the United States at the 2011 IIHF World Championship, while still a member of the Thrashers organization. Today, he co-hosts the Raw Knuckles podcast alongside former NHL enforcer Chris Nealon and works as an operations manager for a beef jerky company called Boyke's Biltong. The hockey career may be over, but the legacy endures. Every Filipino child who dreams of skating in the NHL now has proof that it can be done because Tim Stapleton did it first. When the Winnipeg Jets held their first Filipino Heritage Night, Stapleton was there to celebrate alongside current players, including Dallas Stars forward Jason Robertson, whose mother is also Filipino. Stapleton admitted he had not realized just how large the Filipino community in Winnipeg was until he started researching it. The connection between his heritage and his sport had come full circle. From scoring the final goal in Atlanta Thrashers history to celebrating Filipino culture in the arena where that franchise was reborn, Stapleton's journey represents something larger than individual achievement. It represents possibility. But hockey is not the only sport where Filipino Americans have left their mark on Atlanta. On the baseball diamond, a pair of brothers from Long Beach, California, brought their Filipino heritage to the Atlanta Braves, and the elder of the two carved out a career defined by versatility, determination, and an unshakable connection to his roots. Chase Darno was born on January 21, 1987, in Torrance, California, to a family where music and baseball intertwined. His mother, Marita Darnode, ran an after-school performing arts center in Long Beach. His father played trumpet, piano, and trombone. Two of his uncles were pianists. His cousin became an electro-pop musician. But Chase chose a different path, one that would lead him through the minor leagues, across 6 major league organizations, and eventually to Atlanta, where he would enjoy the best seasons of his professional career. The Atlanta Braves acquired Chase Darno knowing exactly what they were getting, a utility player capable of filling almost any role on the field. During the 2016 season, he proved that value beyond any doubt. He appeared in 84 games, a career-high batting point .245 with 21 runs batted in and 9 stolen bases. What made him invaluable was not any single skill, but his ability to play 6 different positions at the major league level: shortstop, third base, second base, left field, center field, right field. Wherever the Braves needed him, Chase Darno was ready. Through his first 25 games of that 2016 season, he carried a remarkable .345 batting average. As a pinch hitter, he ranked second among all major league hitters with a .360 average in that role. He was not a superstar. He was something perhaps more valuable, a professional who maximized every ounce of his talent and contributed wherever he was asked. But Chase Darno's connection to his Filipino heritage extended beyond the major leagues. He was a member of the Philippines national baseball team that participated in the 2013 World Baseball Classic qualifier, proudly representing the country of his mother's ancestry on the international stage. After retiring from professional baseball in 2020, he expressed interest in playing for the Philippines, again in future international competitions, though the COVID-19 pandemic postponed those plans. He also pursued his family's musical legacy, performing as the lead singer of the Chase Darno Band. He played at the Bonnaroo Music Festival in 2016 and opened for Lady Antebellum at the Verizon Wireless Amphitheater in Alpharetta, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. Athlete, musician, and proud Filipino-American, Chase Darno represented the kind of versatility that defines his community. His career earnings with the Atlanta Braves totaled approximately $1 million. His total major league earnings across 8 seasons reached $2 to $3 million. These are substantial figures by any measure, yet they pale in comparison to what his younger brother would achieve. The Darno family's greatest fortune was still waiting in the wings, and it came with a World Series ring attached. The vision statement reads like a declaration of intent: a thriving, unified, and resilient community of Filipino-American entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, and students in Georgia. The Philippine-American Chamber of Commerce of Georgia, known as PACCGA, was not founded merely to host networking events or distribute business cards. It was founded to build wealth, to create opportunity, and to make Georgia the preferred state for Filipino Americans seeking economic success. As the organization celebrates its 30th anniversary, that mission has never been more vital or more achievable. PACCGA operates as a nonprofit organization dedicated to cultivating and empowering Filipino-American businesses to attain their full potential. Its programs span monthly business seminars, mentorship initiatives, professional development workshops, and youth leadership engagement. The Chamber hosts toast events, where members explore the crucial difference between casual socializing and purposeful professional networking. These are not abstract concepts for the Filipino-American business community. They are the building blocks of generational wealth. The organization positions itself as a one-stop solution for Filipino-American community economic needs, a bold claim backed by decades of work connecting entrepreneurs with resources, investors with opportunities, and dreamers with the practical tools required to transform vision into reality. Through collaboration and support, PACCGA has worked to increase trade between the Philippines and Georgia, contributing to the growth of local economies on both sides of the Pacific Ocean. The Chamber represents not just individual business owners, but an entire philosophy of collective advancement. The belief that when one Filipino-American entrepreneur succeeds, the entire community rises with them. The 30th anniversary celebration promised to be an unforgettable night of elegance, culinary as an alexacuan culture and community, honoring the past while looking ahead to a vibrant future. 3 decades of building businesses, creating jobs, and establishing Filipino Americans as a formidable presence in Georgia's commercial landscape. 3 decades of proving that the entrepreneurial spirit that built empires in Manila and Cebu translates powerfully to the opportunities available in Atlanta and beyond. The combined economic impact of PACCGA's membership network reaches into the millions of dollars annually, a testament to what organized, determined community action can accomplish. But while PACCGA builds wealth through business development and professional networking, our next entry accumulated his fortune through a different kind of excellence. On the baseball diamond, wearing the tools of ignorance behind home plate, Travis d'Arnaud transformed himself from a cast-off catcher released by the New York Mets into a World Series champion, a Silver Slugger Award winner, and the highest-earning Filipino-American athlete in Atlanta Braves history. Travis Emmanuel d'Arnaud was born on February 10, 1989, in Long Beach, California, the younger brother of Chase d'Arnaud. Like his brother, Travis was raised in a musical family where their mother Marita ran an after-school performing arts center. Unlike his brother, Travis would reach heights in professional baseball that few catchers of any heritage ever achieve. The Philadelphia Phillies selected him in the first round of the 2007 draft, the 37th overall pick, a testament to the immense talent scouts recognized in the young backstop from Southern California. His path to Atlanta was neither straight nor easy. Traded from Philadelphia to Toronto in the Roy Halladay deal, then traded again to the New York Mets in the R.A. Dickey deal, d'Arnaud spent years establishing himself as a legitimate major league catcher. Injuries derailed him repeatedly. By early 2019, the Mets had seen enough and released him. He was 30 years old, his career seemingly in decline, his best days apparently behind him. The Tampa Bay Rays took a chance on him, and something remarkable happened. d'Arnaud rediscovered himself, batting .263 with 16 home runs and 67 runs batted in across 92 games. He had proven he still belonged. On November 24, 2019, the Atlanta Braves signed Travis d'Arnaud to a 2-year contract worth $16 million. It was a significant investment in a catcher who had just resurrected his career, and d'Arnaud was determined to justify every penny. In his first season with Atlanta, at 31 years of age, he delivered the finest offensive campaign of his career. He batted .321 with an on-base percentage of .386 and a slugging percentage of .533. He hit 9 home runs and drove in 34 runs in just 165 at-bats during the shortened 2020 season. The National League rewarded his excellence with the Silver Slugger Award, recognizing him as the best offensive catcher in the league. The kid from Long Beach had become an elite performer. The 2021 season brought injury when d'Arnaud tore a thumb ligament in May, requiring surgery and placement on the 60-day injured list. He returned in August, and on August 20th, 2021, the Braves extended his contract with a 2-year deal worth another $16 million, including a club option for 2024. The organization believed in him, and he repaid that belief in October. Travis d'Arnaud started every game at catcher during the 2021 World Series, calling pitches for the entire staff as the Braves captured their first championship since 1995. He batted .236 with 2 home runs and 3 runs batted in across 6 games, recording hits in 4 of them. When the final out was recorded, Travis d'Arnaud had become the 4th baseball player of Filipino descent to win a World Series championship, joining the exclusive company of Tim Lincecum, Kyle Lowes, and Addison Russell. The accolades continued to accumulate. In 2022, he earned his first All-Star selection. On June 16, 2023, he hit his 100th career home run. On April 19, 2024, he launched 3 home runs, including a grand slam against the Texas Rangers, becoming only the 4th catcher in Braves history to accomplish that feat and the 3rd catcher in Major League history to record multiple 3-homer games. His contract with Atlanta was extended again, and the Braves exercised his $8 million option for the 2024 season. When the final accounting is done, Travis d'Arnaud earned approximately $48 million in contracts with the Atlanta Braves alone. His total career earnings exceeds $60 million. His estimated net worth stands between $10 and $15 million. As part of his 2021 extension, he committed to donating 1% of his earnings to the Atlanta Braves Foundation, ensuring that his success would benefit the community that embraced him. But even a World Series champion and Silver Slugger Award winner does not stand alone atop our countdown. The fortunes we are approaching now are still being written, and the stories still being lived. Brian Ramos started his legal career as a law clerk for the Superior Court of Houston County, Georgia, serving 3 judges in Middle Georgia. He then accepted an associate position with Drew, Eckel, and Farnham, one of Atlanta's prestigious litigation firms. But something changed as he worked case after case. He found himself identifying more with the injured workers than with the corporations he represented. In April 2005, he made a decision that would define the rest of his career. He opened the Ramos Law Firm to serve the working class of Georgia, becoming an advocate for those who had no voice against powerful companies and insurance carriers. Today, Brian Ramos stands as one of the most recognized Filipino-American legal professionals in the entire country. Martindale-Hubbell has awarded him their AV Preeminent rating, the highest possible designation for both legal ability and ethical standards. Atlanta Magazine has consistently named him a top attorney in Georgia. Super Lawyers Magazine recognized him as one of the top 100 Georgia lawyers in 2020. These are not honors handed out casually. They represent decades of excellence in a profession where reputation is everything. His influence extends far beyond the courtroom. Ramos serves on the executive board of the National Filipino American Bar Association and on the national board of the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project. Locally, he has been appointed to the Georgia Advisory Committee to the United States Commission on Civil Rights. He serves on the board of directors of the Atlanta affiliate of Asian Americans Advancing Justice and on the board of trustees of the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse. His legal articles have been published in national and regional magazines, and he lectures frequently on workers' compensation issues across the state. The testimonials from his clients speak to something beyond professional competence. They speak to character. One client wrote that the Ramos law firm fought against big companies when their case was originally denied, securing immediate approval for weekly checks, doctor appointments, medication, X-rays, and physical therapy. The client's family, facing potential financial ruin, was saved by attorneys who treated their case not as a job, but as a mission. This is the legacy Brian Ramos has built. Filipino-American excellence in service of those who need it most. But our runner-up position belongs to someone whose journey embodies the American dream in its purest form. A young man who once collected shopping carts at Walmart to help pay for college now breaks through defensive lines at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, wearing the Philippine sun and stars permanently inked on his arm. Tyler Allgaier was born on April 15, 2000 in Fontana, California, to a family that knew struggle intimately. His mother, Esther, raised him as a single parent. When times got rough, the Filipino side of his family stepped in. His grandmother, a native of Southern Leyte in the Philippines, took Tyler, his mother, and his sister into her home. The extended Filipino family that surrounded him during those difficult years would shape the man he became. They taught him resilience, they taught him gratitude, they taught him that family means showing up when it matters most. Before the NFL draft, before the record-breaking rookie season, before the national attention, there was a young man pushing shopping carts across a Walmart parking lot. Tyler Allgaier walked on at Brigham Young University without a scholarship, his mother taking out loans to cover tuition. Within 2 years, his talent had earned him a full scholarship. By his final season, he had set BYU's single-season rushing record with 1,606 yards and 23 touchdowns. The Atlanta Falcons selected him in the 5th round of the 2022 draft, the 151st overall pick. What happened next stunned the franchise and the league. In his rookie season, Tyler Allgaier rushed for 1,035 yards, becoming the first Atlanta Falcons running back to eclipse 1,000 yards since Devonta Freeman in 2016. More remarkably, he became the first Falcons rookie running back to achieve that milestone since William Andrews in 1979. He had broken a 43-year-old franchise record. The Professional Football Writers of America named him to their all-rookie team. Through the 2024 season, Allgaier has accumulated 2,362 career rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, and 420 receiving yards across 50 games. He ranks 11th in Falcons history for career rushing yards, and he is only 24 years old. His rookie contract has paid him approximately $3 to $4 million, with his estimated net worth reaching $5 million. But the trajectory suggests far greater earnings ahead. A running back of his caliber, entering his prime years, could command a contract extension worth $20 to $40 million or more. The tattoo on his left arm tells the story better than any statistics. The Philippine sun and stars mark him as someone who has never forgotten where he came from or who helped him get here. He has spoken openly about the tribute, explaining that the Filipino side of his family literally took care of him, his mother, and his sister when things were rough. In a league where Asian Americans represent approximately 2% of players, Tyler Allgeier stands as a beacon for an entire community. And now we arrive at the summit of our countdown, the number one position. But here the story takes an unexpected turn. The richest Filipino in Atlanta is not a single person. It is not one family hoarding wealth behind mansion walls. The richest Filipino in Atlanta is the collective legacy of an entire community whose combined fortune defies simple calculation. Consider what we have documented. Travis d'Arnaud earned approximately $48 million in Atlanta Braves contracts alone. Tyler Allgeier has earned $3 to $4 million and counting, with potentially tens of millions more ahead. Tim Stapleton earned over $1 million with the Thrashers and carries an estimated net worth of $5 million. Chase d'Arnaud contributed another $1 million in Braves earnings. The combined athletic earnings connected to Atlanta exceed $55 million. But the wealth extends far beyond sports. The Coca-Cola Philippines connection has moved over $3 billion in transactions between Atlanta and Manila. The Philippine Nurses Association of Georgia represents thousands of healthcare professionals earning tens of millions annually. The Philippine American Chamber of Commerce of Georgia facilitates business networks worth millions more. The Filipino American Association of Greater Atlanta has built community wealth for over 50 years. The richest Filipino in Atlanta is not a name. It is a legacy. It is a World Series ring and a broken rookie record. It is the first Filipino in NHL history and a utility player who represented the Philippines internationally. It is nurses healing the sick and lawyers fighting for justice. It is $3 billion flowing between two cities and opposite sides of the world. This is the Filipino Atlanta fortune, and it belongs to everyone who helped build it. As we reach the end of our journey through the richest Filipino connections to Atlanta, one truth becomes undeniably clear. Wealth isn't always measured in a single bank account or a solitary family name. Sometimes, the greatest fortunes are built collectively, through community, perseverance, and the shared dreams of thousands of individuals united by heritage and hope. We've traveled from the ice rinks where Tim Stapleton made history as the first Filipino in the NHL, scoring the final goal in Atlanta Thrashers history. We've stood behind home plate with Travis d'Arnaud as confetti rained down on a World Series championship. His nearly $50 million in Atlanta contracts a testament to Filipino-American excellence. We've watched Tyler Allgeier break through defensive lines with the Philippine sun and stars permanently marked on his arm, shattering records that had stood for over 4 decades. But beyond the athletic achievements and the multi-million-dollar contracts, we've discovered something even more profound. We've seen how the Philippine Nurses Association of Georgia has placed Filipino healthcare professionals at the heart of Georgia's medical system for nearly 4 decades. We've witnessed the Filipino American Association of Greater Atlanta celebrate 50 years of building community, preserving culture, and creating opportunities for the next generation. And we've traced the $3 billion thread connecting Atlanta's Coca-Cola headquarters to the Philippine Islands, a corporate bridge spanning the Pacific Ocean. The combined wealth of Filipino Atlanta connections, over $50 million in athletic earnings alone, billions in corporate partnerships, and the incalculable value of community organizations, represents something that transcends traditional measures of fortune. It represents the American dream realized not by a single dynasty, but by an entire community that refused to be limited by circumstance. From the shopping cart collector who became an NFL record breaker, to the catcher who brought a World Series ring to Atlanta, to the nurses who heal our sick and the lawyers who fight for justice. Filipino Americans have not just participated in Atlanta's story, they have helped write it. So the next time someone asks, quote one, you'll know the answer isn't a name. It's a legacy. It's a community. It's a story of collective wealth, shared dreams, and Filipino pride that spans from Southern Lady to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, from Manila to Midtown, from the ice to the diamond to the gridiron. And that story? It's only just beginning. If this video inspired you, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. The Filipino Atlanta legacy deserves to be known, and now, thanks to you, it will be.